Well, we're here at the Christmas party and we have so much people over here. I've actually invited two of the people to talk a little about eSport with them. Say hello to our first guests.
Well, I'm a member of the Swedish Parliament,
Yes.
Sveriges riksdag, and working for the Center Party. Usually I do energy issues, but well, I realized that there is a lot of things with esports that needs to be taken care of. I mean, mostly it's information, just letting my colleagues know what it is in general. But there are also, certain laws that's not made for the esports. Visas for gamers, for example, coming from different countries. I mean, you wouldn't ban the Russian hockey team from playing in the World Championship, but you are banning Russian players from taking part in different competitions in Sweden, in esports, for example. That's crazy. And we also have some crazy laws dating back to the 80s with the arcade halls and pinballs and people thinking that, it was bad for the kids, we should ban these things or control them. And those things kind of they have stuck in the system and needs to be abolished. And that's what I'm working on, for example.
What do you think it's possible to make in Sweden to reach that level?
I think the decision made in Finland, we probably can't take it in the Swedish Parliament because of the system we have here. It needs to be taken by the Swedish Association for Sports, and I think Alexander here will tell you more about that because that's his part of this. And I think that's great. I mean, it's good that he's doing what he does, but I can also work on the legislation part of it, and I mean, there's also a need perhaps to define gaming as well as culture, for example, and we can do that probably more for the parliament and get help to the people who's actually gaming and doing esports in different ways and just recognizing it as a sport, because I can't take that decision in the parliament.
So please, Alexander, tell us about you. Who are you?
Yeah, my name is Alexander Hallberg and I am the president of the Swedish Gaming Association, or the Swedish Gaming Federation, you could say. And we organize people, especially youths, who are interested in gaming in general and esports in particular, in clubs all around Sweden. I know, for example, the clubs that are organizing people to take part in KoN Nordic. Public Lead, for example, is a big Swedish esports club, which is organized in the way we organize clubs. And as Rickard say, we are working from underneath, from the other way, to influence the Swedish Association of Sports to accept esports as a regular sport. And I think that, as I guess the follow-up question will be, is what does it mean with this what Finland has done? And I think it's really great. I mean,
it's huge.
Yeah, it's really huge because we can point to them and see and ask them how do you. What arguments do you use and how are you thinking, and really point to them as a model for Sweden to go to.
Because right now the mentality is like it's not a sport, but then we have dart and other kind of low activity competitions in classified as sports. Oh, sports! I'm sorry, I'm being rude. Well. What do you think? How are we supposed to change that mentality?
I think that we were actually talking about this just outside here. If it would be better if we were to change ourselves and adapt to an existing model, or that if we should go our own way and try to organize. But we both think that the self-organizing way is much longer and much harder, especially in terms of financing. If you want to preserve some sort of independency from companies and really make the members decide what's good for the sport. So I think we need to look at not so much the differences as of the similarities between us and regular sports, where the things you mentioned, that what I used to call the precision sports instead of low energy, because it's about reflexes, it's about coordination, it's about precision. Which is dart, which is bull, which is curling.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah, exactly, and see see the similarities between esports and that, and also be very open of what we can learn from the traditional sports in form of eating right, exercising, training esports in the most efficient way. Maybe sitting in front of a computer and 10 hours a day just playing games isn't the most effective way.
No,
Maybe
it's not
more
healthy.
effective. Yeah, it's not healthy, and it's more effective than playing 3 or 4 hours doing a specific movement or a specific thing, and then taking a break, working some theory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the next step?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Alexander that I hope the Swedish Association for Sports will accept an application. And it also opens up so many possibilities, I think, both in the educational system and finance and so on, and also these things being more professional and getting more understanding. I mean, that's one of my main missions as a politician, to get my colleagues to understand what it is. That's the first step. So I mean, it's a generational thing in one sense, unfortunately, and we can't wait for, to go 40 years by to get this accepted in total. So we have to speed that up, and that's kind of my job to do in the Swedish Parliament. And I think getting it more professional, showing people that, hey, there's so many people looking at this, there's so many people practicing this, and making it more professional with nutrition, with education and all these things. You can also get that, if you make it more professional, you have an opportunity to use this for the society, to get it more beneficial. I mean, the English language, my mother is a headmaster. She says, well, there's one thing we have no problem with anymore, English language. That's a great example of what this can do to help people and help the school system and so on, and also get parents and so on to understand it and take part. I mean, that's a big issue. And if you can get it accepted as a sport, it will also be more accepted to take part and help and understand, and it will create a huge interest, I think, and that's really important.
Yeah, and also issues about gender equality or racism or stuff like that. That's we need the real world, or we need others to also put demands on us, to actually make progress in this sort of area, because we can talk and we can talk and we can talk, but we actually need to do something as well, and do some things that works. And not just shrug it off and say, well, this is the way it are. Well, we just have to live with that, because no, we don't have to live with that. We are the only ones that can change it, and we should change it if we can.
That's really good. So you work with eSport, obviously, but how did you start? Did you just start working with it, or was it hobby before? Like someone?
Well, in my case, I've also been playing games, and in that case also eSports. And I haven't realized the political dimension with all these things about visas and so on, but I had a friend of mine who said, hey, you should take a look at this. And I started taking a look at some old permissions and realized, well, hey, there is something here, and found the permissions, and I found the problem with the visas, and then with the educational system, and it just keeps going. And of course, I'm a bit of a gamer myself. I'm usually playing mostly Hearthstone, because I'm way too slow to play Counter-Strike, for example. It's way too fast for me, and I don't really have the time to do that in the way. Hearthstone is good in that way that, well, I can play 15 minutes and head on.
Yeah, shorter games.
So of course I'm a gamer, but I also found a way to change the society a bit and help out, and that's what I'm trying to do as a politician in general. I want to make things better, and here I found something that nobody else took care of. So, and that I'm interested in, of course, as well. Otherwise, you can't do it. I want to help out, and that's my main reason, actually.
It's pretty good. Thank you for helping us.
Yeah, Sverok is a non-profit organization which is mostly run by volunteers, much of like most of the esports are. So I've been like working my way up to where I am today, where I have the privilege to actually earn some money for doing stuff like this. But I've been playing games, mostly traditional games, board games and role-playing games and stuff like that in all my life, and I got really hooked on for esports. It was like StarCraft in the beginning, and then when Dota came, Dota 1 and Dota 2, that's when I really like fell into the esports pit and never crawled back.
That's so nice.
Because if it's two things,
once you're there, you're stuck forever.
Yeah, I play Dota, I play Fallout. I love the Fallout games, and I watch CS because CS I don't even.
Yeah, it's incredible. amazing too.
They're so
Watch.
talented, you know. I don't even.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to mean.
Thank you guys so much for coming and letting us interview us and letting our viewers to know that things are about to happen here in Sweden. So hopefully it will go a long way.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I mean, keep following Alexander and my work, and you'll probably see more of us, hopefully, I guess, in
Yeah, I
the
guess
future
so
as
too.
well, in the esports arenas.
Thank you.